All right, we're live.
What's going on, everybody? Hope everyone's having a fantastic Monday. Know a lot of Dallas Cowboy fans are excited because the Cowboys took down the NFC East yesterday by beating the Washington Commanders. But before we get into all that, there's a reason why I'm not in studio right now. A dramatic scene unfolding right now at the Jimenez household as one of my dogs is in peril, is in trouble right now. Joe, again, dude, again. So right now, I'm taking a look outside. There are 10 people from Northside ISD who are behind my fence, and then there's my dad. And I was out there for a good 2 hours trying to save my dog. He's trapped underneath the fence right now. And they've been getting out, so that's why I wasn't on the show Friday. They got out, and I thought that they were stolen and all of that stuff. And last year, I had a fence built in my house. Spent over $6,000 on it, way overspent on it. But I spent on it in order for the dogs to not be able to get out because there's 2x4s that go across the very bottom, which is very, very rare. And it's like that to reinforce that. Well, this morning I'm having breakfast and I'm taking a look outside and I see my dogs trying to dig out again, right? So when they dig out, there's my fence and then there's Northside fence, and they kind of just go back and forth behind there. They trap themselves in there, if you will. Well, one of my dogs got out, and I noticed the husky trying to follow, and the husky made his way underneath the fence again. I saw them do this, so they weren't out for very long, 10, 15 seconds tops. I turn around, I open the door, and I said, Duncan, Cody, get back over here. Well, my golden retriever, who's smaller than the husky, made his way underneath the fence. My husky got trapped, and he got trapped right there because of the security measures that I put in place to prevent the dogs from getting out is actually preventing them from getting back in. So I reached out to Chris Leha at MCS General Contracting over the weekend. He kind of made a joke about it on Twitter earlier this weekend saying, dude, I need something concrete, something to get these dogs from not getting out of my yard. Because, again, I don't have a backyard neighbor. My neighbor is an elementary school from Northside ISD. And it was so dramatic earlier today. They had all these people come by. They're like, we're going to call the fire department. I'm like, the hell you are? Fire department's going to cost me over $1,000. I said, I'll just take those planks out, remove the 2x4, and just replace it that way. Or I'll tear down Northside's fence. It's cheaper to do that, man. So I love my dogs. I take care of them. I feed them. I walk them. They sleep on the bed. They sleep on the couch. They are pampered dogs. But they're mischievous dogs at that. And I blame my golden retriever because the husky never used to get out until the golden retriever started doing it. And right now I'm taking a look outside. I was outside up until a few minutes ago. We were going to do the show at 10 o'clock, and I said, man, I got to shower. I have a job interview at 11:30 that I need to finalize. It's within the company that I already work with, but it's on Zoom, so I needed to put on a shirt, right? So I let my dad go, but I dug a trench in there, and a big old thing. I dug a hole that's probably about 3 feet deep, 2 or 3 feet deep, and it wasn't enough space for the husky to get through. It's stuck underneath the 2x4. It's not crying. It doesn't seem like it's in distress. You can see he's breathing, not bleeding or anything like that. He's just stuck. Just stuck. And my dad right now is grabbing both of his paws right now, trying to wiggle him out like it's a sofa going in and out of a doorway. But my dad right now took the saw that I bought just a week ago, by the way. I bought a brand new saw, and because I was trimming trees. The dog is out.
Finally.
The dog is out. Way to go, Dad. Woo! We call him Papa in this household. And on top of that, he took out 4 planks. And did not destroy the planks, kept every single nail. This is Mexicanism at its finest that I'll never get, man. My dad is, Bob the Builder. He is Handy Manny. He is all of that rolled into one. No way in the world could I do this. But he removed 4 planks. The planks are still intact. Oh, look at him. He's putting the planks back up like nothing ever happened. I was going to destroy that fence. I owe my dad beyond lunch. I owe him case of beer. What else? What else? What do I get my dad?
And get him a bottle of Patron or something, dude. Tequila, whatever he's drinking, man.
He does drink tequila every once in a while, but he's a Miller Lite kind of guy. It's a Miller Lite, Bud Light, Coors Light kind of guy. And so yeah, my dog got out. My dog got out. Oh, hey, I need to take this real fast. Take
Yeah.
over the show for 2 minutes.
Yeah. So shout out to everybody that's watching us here. I did see Chris Lejas comment right now. He says, guess Mike finally feels confident enough with training that he sent the video out on Saturday. Soft as hell, Mike. And Tim Gonzalez says, what good, everyone? What's good, man? And Chris Gonzalez says, get your popcorn ready. Jimenez versus Leja. That's going to be the fight of the century, or it's going to be the race of the century. Yeah, and Tim Gonzalez says, happy birthday, Trey Jones. Yeah, happy birthday to Trey Jones. Man, y'all killing me with these comments, though, man. Chris Leja, let your dogs be free, man. They trying to get ass in the hood. Chris Gonzalez, they sound like Marbach dogs. They want to get out. What's up, Coach Gio? Good morning, fellas. Good morning, Gio. Bear County. He says his dogs figured since they're left out in the rain, they might as well leave. And Gio says, Cowboys better not ruin my parlay next week. Well, if you bet on the Cowboys to win, they just might ruin your parlay. You know the Cowboys, man. They're going up Green Bay against Green Bay. Technically, this should not be an issue for the Cowboys, even though it's going to be a competitive game. But you're talking about Dakota Rain Prescott. You know all too well what happens when the big moments shine, the spotlight shines bright. He folds, man. He's yet to win a big game. So there you go. Hearing the news about the dog getting free, it sounds like that baby who fell down the well in the 80s. Yeah, Mike should have had a live stream about that, man. What's up, Drew? Thanks for supporting, Drew. Always, man. We really appreciate you. Mike needs Cedar Milan more than Wemby needs Pop to stop sabotaging his rookie season with minutes restrictions. No point guard and not calling a timeout. Well, that's inexperience for you, man. You know, the Spurs did have a timeout. Everybody blaming Sohan for taking that horrible shot, but the Spurs just had a couple seconds, and that's what Pop let him do. Isn't it the coach's job to call a timeout in those types of situations? But Coach Pop said, fuck it. We're going to let Jeremy Sohan take the last shot, even though it's going to be a poor shot, most likely will not go in. Hey, man, it is what it is. It's the nature of things for San Antonio Spurs fans in this season. They're used to this, man. Who let the dogs out? Shawshank dogs trying to make a jailbreak. Hey, but let's go ahead and talk about the NFL playoffs that are going to be coming up. We saw a lot of games that mattered yesterday. And despite all odds, man, these Houston Texans winning their damn division, man. I thought the Jags for sure were going to get it done, but they didn't. The Jags let me down, man. I thought, oh, the Jags, this perfect opportunity for them to sneak in here, win the division. You know, the Houston Texans were still in the hunt, but the Jags went up against the Titans, man, and the Titans said, even though we got nothing to play for, fuck it. You know, and the Titans won 28-20. They bested the Jaguars. And I was talking with Brandon Big Papi Medina because we're doing the Fantasy God show on Sunday. I said, I hate to do you like this, brother, but I'm betting against your Vikings today. The Lions were in part of my parlay, and the Lions did not disappoint, beat the Vikings 30-20. The one game that was an absolute beat down, Saints Falcons, man. This was ugly, dude. Ugly.
Well, first of all, you brought up a lot. The Houston Texans, oddly enough, before the game started, I was looking at the spread. Vegas had the Texans favored in that game on the against the Colts. They went and took care of business. Meantime, you have the Jacksonville Jaguars wetting the bed, and it's funny because it's such a long season, the 17 weeks plus the bye. It's such a long season, and you have these teams that are getting better and worse kind of just as time goes on. And you're seeing some teams get hot down the stretch. The Texans got hot. You saw teams like the Buffalo Bills get hot. and they're primed for the playoffs. Others just fell off a cliff. You saw teams like the Miami Dolphins, the Jaguars, who either barely made the playoffs or missed it altogether. And it's kind of interesting. The Eagles, though, talk about a team that fell off a cliff, man. That Eagles team is going to be one and done this playoffs. I don't care the matchup; they're one and done. That is not a good team anymore. It's just kind of interesting to see it. But
Yeah.
my dogs are free, by the way, and I apologize for having to take that work call. I have a job interview. I say it's a job interview. It's a company I've worked with for 6 years, so it's kind of like I hope it's a formality, but
Yeah.
that's in about 45 minutes or so. But we've had a lot going on. What did I miss, by the way? What did y'all talk about when I was gone?
Oh man, Chris Leha is calling you out, dude. Chris Leha responding to your video that you put up because
Yeah.
guess Mike finally feels confident enough with training that he
Oh
sent that
yeah.
video out on Saturday. Soft as hell, Mike.
Oh, that's great. He calls it training. I hadn't gone for a jog in about 2 months. So the running that I have been doing has been refereeing. So I did a 5K for the turkey trot with my daughter, and I did it in 38 minutes or so. This was Thanksgiving, right? So I went with my daughter, and we went up and down downtown, but it was pouring rain that day that the 5K happened. If I was to do that 5K now, I'd probably get it done in about 33, 34 minutes or so. I did it in 38 a few months ago, and it's not training. It's just I've been refereeing basketball, man. And
You've been moving.
it's making me better, man. But I am a bowling ball when it comes to running. It's funny, once I get past the 2 mile mark, 3 mile mark, just don't stop. Just energize your buddy, baby. Just keep going, keep going, keep going. Because when I was done, I could have ran another 5 or 6 miles. What I ended up doing that day yesterday or Saturday or yesterday actually, I jogged to Planet Fitness, and then I
Oh
lifted
yeah.
weights for an hour, and then I walked home. So I did 5 miles total, 2.5 of a jog and 2.5 of a walk. And I stopped at the taqueria on the way home. Didn't have tacos, but I had pork chops and eggs and
There
a
you
couple
go.
of corn tortillas. So I ate pretty okay. But no, man, running is my area. For my size, you put me against people my size, I will outrun you. Okay, that just is what it
Man,
is.
that's
But
confidence right there, man.
yeah, dude, and yesterday as well. Just taking a look at what happened yesterday in the NFL, it was tough being a Saints fan, man, because Carolina Panthers play Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay wins and they're in. They win the division. You see my Saints put up 48 points and playing the best they've been playing all year long the last month. They don't make the playoffs. I predicted before the season started that the Saints would get 9 wins. They got 9 wins. I thought 9 would be enough to make the playoffs, but they just missed it. Carolina had a chance to win this game, but two things happened. One was they had a receiver catch a 45-yard pass. He's trying to dive into the end zone. Ball gets knocked out, he fumbles it in the end zone. And then there was a touchdown that was called back for an illegal formation because a receiver was not lined up correctly. And those two plays, those are two touchdowns right there, would have knocked out the Bucks. Bucks would have been out of the playoffs, and the Saints would have won the division, but it didn't happen. Now, the controversy of that game was the last touchdown, and I need to talk about this. I don't know if you've touched on this at all.
No, not yet.
The controversy about the way the Saints ran up the score yesterday. Now, I'm a Saints fan. That is my team. Okay. Um, it was soft. It was Bush League what the Saints did there. And it wasn't the Saints because I had already turned the game off, man. It was 41 to whatever. I had
Yeah.
turned the game off because I wanted to see what was going on in the Bucks game. That was more important because I wanted to see if Carolina could win that game. So when I saw that they had scored another touchdown, all I saw was Honey Badger intercept the ball, take it 70 yards, and get tired along the way, get tackled at the one. I figured, okay, did they punch it in? That's kind of weird. They're running up the score. And to see that they lined up in victory formation and handed the ball off to Jamal Williams for a touchdown, that was weak, man. That was weak. I'm so disappointed. Not in the Saints in the sense that the coach of the Saints came out and said afterwards, hey, I did not call that play. It was victory formation. I was not trying to run up the score. And Jameis Winston was like, F that. Let me just go ahead and hand it off to Jamal Williams. I don't know if Jamal Williams had an incentive or anything like that, but line up in an actual playing position. Don't line up like you're going to kneel the ball and then run it, because that's weak. I wouldn't want that to happen to my team. Cowboy fans would not want that to happen to them. And I wouldn't want Cowboys to do that as well. It was a very, very bad look. It made the head coach of the Saints look like people don't respect him, and he's not a very good coach. He really isn't. But I'm the running up the score was a big talk, because I think that was the wrong conversation to have. Did they run up the score? They ran up the score in an asshole kind of way. That's what they did. Victory formation. But the idea of just run up the score because you want to, like 70 points against the Broncos or whatever the case may be, sometimes it gets out of hand. And you know what? If fights happen, it's because you're showing up somebody else. I mean, sometimes you just, like when I do high school basketball refereeing, if a team's up 50 points and if the team's up 50 points and they're still doing a full court press on a team that's by far inferior, you just look at the official. You don't tell the coach, hey, stop doing that, because that's not your place. But you can give them a look of like, really? That's what we're doing right now. And when you give that look, you'd be surprised what ends up happening, right? So when it comes to running up the score, I'm not saying that I'm opposed to it necessarily. But what the Saints did yesterday was by far Bush League, man. And I'm so disappointed in my Saints. Hey, lots of head coaches have their jobs on the line right now.
Falcons head coach was the first to drop.
Yeah, I know. He dropped the F-bomb and then he was gone. Ron Rivera's out at Washington. Bill Belichick, the question,
he's meeting today with Robert Kraft.
Yeah, and they asked Belichick, they're like, how do you feel? He goes, well, I'm under contract. It's a weird way of looking at it, man. Well, I'm under contract.
Under contract. In other words, you got to pay me to get rid of me.
Well, yeah, but maybe it's worth it.
Maybe. You know, the thing is, too, if you're going to keep Belichick as a head coach, you got to go ahead and take away his general manager position, of the team, as far as being able to make decisions. He's just got to be a coach, and that's it, if they're going to move forward with him. And if he's not happy with that or not willing to rescind that, and just be a head coach, then maybe that's your answer right there, Mr. Kraft. You got to go ahead and move on. And right now, I think it is the perfect time for the Saints and Belichick to come to a mutual understanding and say, hey, it's time to go ahead and part ways. We wish you the best. Thank you for everything you did, but you got to go.
You're hired to get fired in this league. That's the way that it works.
Yep. Hey, we had some comments here earlier today by, I think it was Coach Gio here, our friend of the show here. He says the Rams were able to make the playoffs after starting 3-6. It's going to be tough to beat the Lions on the road. Yeah, that's no lie right there.
Very true. It's the Lions are a team that, they got screwed over in that game against the Cowboys. That loss right there prevented them from having additional home field advantage. But right now I'm looking at the odds right now for NFL MVP.
Yeah.
And right now, Dak Prescott is by far second place. Cowboy fans are going to get pissed off because they're going to see that Dak's going to be the runner-up for MVP, and Micah Parsons will probably be runner-up again for Defensive Player of the Year. Lamar Jackson by far is the favorite. Ravens lost yesterday, but they weren't exactly playing their starters. Tyler Huntley was under center for the Ravens yesterday, so they rested Lamar. Have you seen the spreads for the playoffs?
I haven't seen the spreads, but I've seen the matchups already. You got the Browns, Texans, Dolphins, Chiefs, Steelers, Bills, Packers, Cowboys, Rams, Lions, Eagles, Buccaneers. Man, the wild card round is going to be crazy, dude.
Yeah, there's only one division winner that I see, actually two division winners that I see that are considered to be underdogs in the playoffs. First game, 3:30 on Saturday, Browns at the Texans. The Houston Texans, man, who would have thought? Going from the second worst record last year to a a 10-win season. DeMeco Ryans should win head coach of the year, right? And by the way, this is also a testament to hiring black coaches. A lot of teams out there still hesitant. There's the Rooney Rule exists for a reason, but DeMeco Ryans came in, installed a culture that is amazing. But Cleveland is favored in this game, even though they're playing there in Houston. Cleveland favored by 2.5 points. They believe more in Joe Flacco than they do
Flacco,
in
man,
CJ
and that
Stroud.
defense. Flacco and that defense is
That
going to be
defense is tough.
crazy good. Yeah.
Now, the Saturday evening game on Peacock is going to be a battle of 2 11-6 teams. The Dolphins at the Chiefs. Chiefs favored by 3.5. Man, the Chiefs have played like trash the past month and a half, man. All they're doing, they have no receivers, and everyone's double teaming Kelsey, and that shuts everything down. And no one's afraid of Isaiah Pacheco.
And the Chiefs' defense is not very good, dude. Let's be honest.
That is true. And the offensive line has kind of Swiss cheese on it. The Chiefs favored by 3.5 points. I get it. They're the home team.
It's tough to win in Arrowhead, man, with the fans behind you,
And the biggest fan being Taylor Swift, right?
Yeah, true.
Sunday, the early game, the noon game. You've got the Steelers at the Buffalo Bills. The Bills coming
Bills Mafia, man. I'm excited about this one.
Won last night to win the AFC East. Buffalo favored by 10 points. 10 points.
Hey, man, the Steelers, that they winded up beating the Ravens, though, on that game on Saturday.
Hey, how surprised are you that the Cowboys are not the Sunday night game?
I'm kind of surprised, but it doesn't really surprise me.
They're not the primetime game.
They're not the primetime game.
How is Green Bay, Dallas not the primetime game? How is the primetime game the LA Rams at the Detroit Lions?
And you have the Eagles and Buccaneers also at 7:00.
That's on Monday night. Yeah,
that's on Monday night.
So Packers.
But I'm saying
the Cowboys favored by 7.5.
Yeah, the thing is with the Cowboys, I mean, you got Mike McCarthy going up against his former team in the Packers. The reason that this isn't a primetime game is damn well what's going to happen. What the record says about Dakota Rain Prescott. When the lights shine the brightest, what happens with him? He folds.
Well, he will sometimes win one playoff game before he folds. But
I don't know.
There are so many great talking points about this game. I mean, talking point number one, McCarthy going back against his old team, right?
Yeah.
You have Jordan Love, who finally took over after Aaron Rodgers was let go. You have McCarthy being the play caller. You have, here we go, Dak Prescott in the talks, in the mix for the MVP. And I asked the question on Twitter earlier today, why are Cowboy fans more optimistic now than ever before? Because if you look at the standings, they're 12-5. What were they last year? 12-5. What were they the year before that?
12-5.
So, and John Dyer reaches out to us on Twitter and says, well, the Cowboys have home field advantage. Well, they had home field advantage 2 years ago, too. They were division winner. So they had a home field game as well. Nathan Ray Clark reaches out and says, I'll be optimistic when Jerry Jones is out of the picture. Is it possible? And people are alluding to this, and I've mentioned this as well.
The curse is reversed?
The curse is reversed because Jimmy Johnson is in the Ring of Honor. Maybe that's what it is.
Jerry did the right thing.
Luis Benitez comes out and says, Cowboys have a potential MVP, a potential defensive player of the year, having a good kicker, good overall health-wise. Path through the playoffs looks good on paper, in my opinion, and he has the crossing fingers emoji. Now, let me ask you this, though. That was funny yesterday. I was at a bar in Old Town Helotes yesterday watching the games, and Brandon Aubrey going out there for field goals. He was perfect on the season, and then he gets one blocked, right? Early in the game, he gets one blocked. By the way, that Commanders defender was untouched. How are you untouched from that angle? He just walked in and blocked it. And then all of these people around me are Cowboy fans. And then they're all like, oh, I can't believe that counts as an attempt. It was blocked. It shouldn't count as an attempt. And oh my God. Then I go on Twitter and everyone's saying the exact same thing. I'm like, dude, come on. A dropped pass is an incomplete pass, okay? You don't say that it's not an incomplete pass because CeeDee Lamb dropped it. No, it's
Yeah.
a drop pass, right? Now, Aubrey then goes out there and hits the upright. Doom, the big old sound. And now I'm like, he's got the yips. He's got the yips. But then he made the 50-yarder to end the game. And by the way, which was running up the score. I mean, that was right up the score. They trotted his ass out there to give him some confidence before next week's game, so it's not in his head. So that was a run up of the score, but it was also I understand it though. I understand.
Yeah, so we got a lot of games coming up here as far as the wild card round goes. Cowboys to me, I don't know, man. I'm still on shaky ground with them just because of the track record they've had in previous, matchups here going in the wild card round.
I like Drew's comment right here. He says, when Aubrey missed that one field goal, hit the post, I have never seen a football go left, right, then veer to the right like that. It was like some witchcraft stuff.
Voodoo. It was like the double doink.
Yeah. Dude, the kickers these days, remember growing up in the 90s and you'd watch a football game and you'd be like, oh my God, it's a 44-yard kick. This is a tough one. Like it used to be automatic was 35 in. I think automatic right now for most kickers is probably 49 yards and in. Like if it
I'd
is
say
49
45.
and in, okay.
45.
Well, I mean, isn't what's the extra point? 33 or something like that?
33, yeah.
So 45, I'll give you that. 45 sounds about right, but those are like those should be gimmies, Yeah. And now you see kickers go out there 60 65-yard kicks.
68 yards. Jesus.
I saw on YouTube a field goal kicker in high school knock it from 67 and it would have been good from 75.
Jeez.
Like it didn't just like barely go over the crossbar.
Yeah.
It went powered through.
Damn.
And I was like, what the heck is going on with this, man? But there's
hey, we do have the national game, as Tim Gonzalez said right now. We have Washington versus Michigan. You know what, man? I'll go out on a limb here and I'm gonna say I like Washington.
I do too, man. I think if you just like good people and good stories, you go for Washington.
Yeah.
I hate the Harbaughs. And can you imagine a national champion having a head coach that was forced out of the program for 3 weeks, not able to coach his own team because of the shady shit that they do? And then they go out there, they have that one coach who sneaks into other sidelines to steal plays and things like that. That's a shady school. By the way, talking about shady schools, did you see that story it's more of a news story than it is a sports story. But Texas A&M is being investigated now.
Oh God!
As a university for doing nuclear allegedly doing nuclear type of research for the country of Qatar.
That's crazy, dude. Nuclear.
Because they have a campus in Qatar all the way over there.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be that if you are a U.S. funded entity, that the secrets or the developments that you create belong to the U.S. government.
Yeah.
Right. And apparently the arrangement they have over there is like, nope, they're getting money for doing stuff for them. Yeah. And now we know how Jimbo Fisher was paid off, right? I mean, that's got to be where the money came from.
Hey, man, that sounds like a storyline straight out of Back to the Future, how Doc Brown got that plutonium. Then they come looking for him. Come on, man. That's what that sounds like to me. Hey, but you know what? Let's get into this, man. Let's talk about this because we haven't talked about it yet. San Antonio Spurs, man. I watched this game. It was a noon game, an early game at that. Spurs fans across social media are so pissed off that the Spurs didn't call a timeout when they had one left. Jeremy Sohan gets the ball after Wemby had that emphatic block. They had a chance to tie, but what happens is Jeremy Sohan just chunks up the ball. A poor shot. It didn't have a chance of going in.
Right.
And they lose the game to the Cavaliers. 117, I believe it was 115.
Yeah.
And Spurs fans are like, well, why didn't they call a timeout? You know what? That's on the coach. The coach could have called a timeout, but it's also inexperience from a young core as well. Because if the players know that they have a timeout, why didn't one of the players call a timeout? You know?
Yeah. I don't think it was going to matter ultimately. I mean,
Yeah, it wouldn't have mattered.
I think this is whining for the sake of whining. Pop after the game said that you would have given the defense a chance to do things. If you're going to throw up a prayer, though, I would rather that prayer be from the top of the key as opposed to that prayer being from midcourt. Okay, Sohan Shot had no chance in the world of going in, and I find that to be that's Pop's arrogance coming out saying, that's just what we do. When I'm looking at this team right now and I'm thinking about the Spurs, and the month of January might actually be good for this team the rest of the way because, the Spurs have lost so many games in the last few months, right? They started the season 3-23. Right now are 5-30. So the Spurs have lost 27 out of 29 games and are going to go on the rodeo road trip next month and be gone for most of the month. So if you want to watch the team, now's the time to do it. But take a look at the schedule, man. The Spurs played the Bucks very, very, very well. Wemby balled out. Wemby balled out again yesterday. But look at
Yeah.
this schedule here. The Spurs on Wednesday take on the Detroit Pistons, a battle of the worst teams in the NBA.
Yeah.
The
That's
Spurs
happening on
should mop the
Wednesday.
floor with them. Then the Spurs have a home game against Charlotte, which is one of the worst teams in the league. Spurs might win back-to-back games. Home game against Chicago. Spurs might win 3 in a row. On the road against Atlanta, Spurs might win 4 in a row because those are all gettable games. I think the Spurs will win a minimum 2 of those 4 games. I expect them to win 3. But I would not be surprised if they got all 4. After that, though, they got a road game against Boston. That's going to be a loss. But look at this. Charlotte, the Wizards. They've got Portland down the stretch. They've got Washington again down the stretch. They've got Orlando. Spurs might win five games this month, man. I mean, still a losing record, but they might win 5. I'm taking a look outside my house right now. The school district is coming by and waving us off, saying thank you for getting the dog out. My dad has rebuilt the fence, by the way. It looks like nothing ever happened. My dad has everything back in there. The trench that I put together. My dad has. You know what? I mean, that is one thing about my dad that I wish I had. I wish I had the ability to eyeball certain scenarios and be able to fix them. One thing that I'll never do, one thing that you'll see that I'll never do, I will never talk shit about what anybody does for a living. I don't care if you're white collar, blue collar, gray collar. If you enjoy what you do and you're good at it, that's all that fucking matters, man. That is all that matters. And I look at like most of my clientele in the financial game happen to be like my dad. They're just hardworking blue and gray collar guys. So I have nothing against it. But and I tell my dad this all the time. He doesn't see it as math. I'm doing one type of math in finance. He's doing a different type of math. He's doing geometry. He's taking a look at a situation, knowing how much wood needs to be there, how much supply needs to be there, and
Yeah.
he's doing a geometric thing in his head. And I tell him that, and he's like, "No, mijo, I'm just fixing a fence." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"It's beyond all that. There's a science behind it," but he doesn't see it as such. But my dad is, out there in the yard right now, coming up on his mid 80s, man. But that guy can carry a fridge out the door right now if he
Jeez.
needed to. He's a tank.
Yeah, man. So the
That's
thing
my
is
dad.
that, yeah, your dad's strong, dude, for being 80 years old. Great shape, though,
Oh yeah,
being able to still be
he's
mobile.
82 mobile, 82 years old, dude. If I told him right now that I need every couch in here on the put onto a truck, he'd figure it out. He'd figure it out. He'd carry it
Yeah.
himself. He's got that old man strength, dude. You know what I'm saying?
True that. True that. Yeah, they got that old man strength, that grip, They could crush you with their hands, dude. Hey, but the Spurs, like you were saying, they're going to play against the Pistons on Wednesday. Hornets, Bulls, and then the Hawks. I only see the Spurs maybe beating the Pistons. And if they don't beat the Pistons, dude, I mean, mathematically this team's already pretty much out of it. You know?
Yeah.
They're pretty much out of it. I mean, anything short of a miracle here is not going to get them anywhere near even a play-in game. I mean, let's face it, this team is a lottery team. Maybe they beat the Pistons, but the other three teams, I don't think they have it in them. The Spurs have shown you one thing, and that is this team does not know how to close out fourth quarters. Maybe they can get that figured out as the season wanes on, but currently, right now, they still haven't figured that out. They're playing a lot better. They're playing a little bit more consistent. They're playing a little bit better on the defensive end. They're starting to figure some things out. But again, it's a long season. We're not even at the halfway mark yet. So they still have some things that they got to figure out. Maybe they can go ahead and give themselves more chances to win closer games, close games. We've already seen two close games that they were able to not win, because again, poor decision making down the stretch in the fourth quarter. Coach Pop gonna pop, not call timeouts and stuff like that. He's trying to let them figure it out. And I get it, man, but it is frustrating to watch. But this team still has a lot of things to figure out, especially with the core that they have right now. They're just showing you that this is basically what they can do with the parts that they have constructed the team with. This is
Right.
as good as they're going to get. It's like a car, Mike. You buy a Hyundai, but you want a Mercedes. You bought a Hyundai. Doesn't matter what you do to it, it's still a Hyundai, you know?
Well, a couple of things that the Spurs have done in the past couple of weeks. I mean, not only did they play the Bucks very well, and you see the confidence level. I mean, I wasn't on the show Friday to kind of give my opinion on this, but to see Wemby go toe to toe and not be afraid of Giannis and almost lead the team to victory. If he was playing 32 minutes that game, Spurs might have actually won. Spurs are losing some of these games simply because of the minutes restriction, because this team might actually be decent with Trey Jones out there as starting. Tim Gonzalez mentioning the fact that on our YouTube stream that
It's his birthday.
Trey's been playing and has been starting. Keldon doing really good on the coming off the bench. But when you look at the Spurs right now, we're seeing the flashes on a consistent basis from Victor Wembanyama, that of what was promised from the very beginning, that he is going to be a type of savior out there. And if you the stats don't lie. I mean, if you
Yeah.
look at the stats right now, last 5 games, 30 points, 21, 20, 27, and 24. That's an average of around 24 points per game, an average of about 8.5, 9 rebounds, an average of about 4 blocks, and shooting over 50% the last 5 games. Oh, well, by the way, averaging 25 minutes. So we are seeing from Wemby what was anticipated. And you know what? Vegas is taking note, because I'm looking at this. The odds have increased. And right now, Chet Holmgren's still considered to be the favorite to win the Rookie of the Year. But those odds for Wemby are getting better, better, and better as the days go by, as the games go by.
He's
And
playing a lot better.
I would say that they're going to be pretty much tied, maybe, or by the end of the week or so. Especially if the Spurs get a couple of wins this week. I think Wemby is balling out, man. He really is.
Wemby is looking really good, man. It looks like he's kind of figured some things out. He's gotten used to the way that the game moves here at the NBA level. He's showing that he's a heck of a player, man, defensively, and what he's able to do against some of the elite talent in the NBA. They even take notice of him. So
Yeah.
yeah, man. I mean, we got some inner bickering right now going on within the chat. We have Chris Leha going at Drew Show, and I mean, it's getting nasty, dude.
Yeah, it is getting nasty. And first of all, can I talk about like ragging on me? Okay, because
Yeah.
there's a couple of things about it. First of all, I don't. 99% of the time, I don't care. Someone want to rag on me about my weight, or rag on me about my take, or about this and the other. I don't care. I think a lot of it's funny. I think a lot of it's creative. But there have been some cases over the past 2 or 3 weeks where people have kind of crossed the line a little bit. And I'm not saying that they're doing it maliciously. I think they're trying to be funny.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there is a line that you cross. Okay. So there's 3 things that have happened. One is people are coming at me about my divorce.
That's crazy, dude.
Dude, that's stupid. I mean,
Yeah.
a broken house with how my kids are handling and stuff like that, that's not to be joked about, dude. And if
Yeah,
anyone's ever been through a divorce, If someone has
It's
been through a
ugly.
divorce, they would know not to joke about that shit. So fucking
Yeah.
stop. Okay. Second thing is that there was somebody, I forgot who it was, that insinuated that I was a pedophile
Oh man.
and was creating Photoshop things about that. And I'm like, no, take that shit down. And then most recently, there was one that made it appear as though I had gotten arrested and made it photoshopped it to look like it was a KSAT story.
Oh Lord.
And the thing is that look, man, and for those of y'all listening, and just spread the word, I'm a business owner. I make my money based on that. And one of those photoshops took my picture from
Yeah.
either my LinkedIn or my website, my business website, right?
Yeah.
And because of that, and the photoshops are so lifelike and real looking that it gives the impression that there might be truth behind it. And the fact of the matter is that I manage. I calculated this the other day. I manage over $12 million worth of investments, and I'll probably be managing over 20 million by the end of this year.
Yeah.
And what do people do when they meet me? They search me out. Now I can explain Twitter being Twitter, and oh, by the way, I also do this. I can explain all that. But what I can explain are Photoshops that show me um, insinuating that I'm being arrested or
Yeah.
insinuating that I'm a pedophile, because all that shit needs to stop. And when I say that it's going to stop, I'm not going to just go simply report it. I will go and I will sue people for this, because
Yeah.
it's okay to come after my takes, come after my weight and all that stuff. But going beyond the line, I think what ended up happening was people are like trying to one up each other on it,
Yeah.
and it went too fucking far.
Yeah.
And now if I lose business because you think you're being funny, um, I'm going to take that money that I would have earned from you. I have all the time in the world to go sue people's asses off. I have the resources to do it, and I will go do it. Now, the people who have done this have actually since apologized. So I hold no ill will. And I don't think
Yeah.
they were trying to be malicious. I don't think they were trying to fuck me over. That's not the thing.
Yeah. It's a
I just
joke that
don't.
went too far.
Yeah, I just think that they went too far
Yeah.
and don't realize that Michael is beyond the person that he has on Twitter. He's actually a business owner. He's
Yeah.
actually somebody in the community who actually has a real life job, who actually handles real world business, and it went too far. So stop that shit. Okay.
Yeah.
And as far as stuff like on the divorce, it doesn't like hurt my feelings. It just makes you look stupid. That's all that it is.
Yeah.
And going through divorce is tough, man. It's tough. I mean, I've got
Yeah.
kids. I've got kids that
Sad.
that want to see their dad. I got kids that want to see their mom. I got kids that do all of this stuff. And you know, you may not like me because of my takes. Go after my takes.
Yeah.
Go after my weight if you want to. I don't care. That doesn't hurt my feelings.
Yeah. Leave the family out of it, man.
Leave the family and leave my business out of it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't think that I won't sue your ass and that I won't take your car and that I won't take your savings account or checking account, I will do that. I will do that. I play big, I play hardball. But it's okay.
Yeah. Hey, so we have another super chat here, and this one's from Chris Leha. I'm gonna read the super chats, all of them, because you're spending $5. Chris Leha says the haters me pelan. He says MCS is the best in the game. Shout out to my boys Joe and Mike and the other supporters. Yeah, we like what Chris Leha has to do out there. You know, he is a small business owner, so we're here to support small business, and we always make fun, and say Chris Leha has the hardest concrete in the business, diamond hard. It's an ongoing joke that we have. So Chris is a supporter of the show, so shout out to everybody who supports the show. We greatly appreciate you all. But yeah, man, just y'all
And
need to stop with the inner bickering and the inner fighting, man.
and Drew Show reaching out saying shows about sports takes, not about you. And people got offended the other day when I said, hey, some of these comments don't need to be on the show because it's our show, not their show. And they
Yeah.
got offended about that. what I meant by that is that there needs to be a delicate balance. A perfect world is we do a show that's about 70% sports,
Yeah.
about 15% life, and maybe some entertainment, and then 15% bullshit, right? That's a perfect blend. But what ends up happening is that it ends up being a little bit too top heavy. And the majority of people who listen to this show or watch this show are not on Twitter. And it was like that when I was at Sports Star. They would always tell me that line is not their show, it's your show, was actually a line that I felt weird because that was a line that was told to me by Tim Spence. Tim Spence would always tell me that. He goes, take control of your show because you can't let the listeners dictate the show too much because they're listening about you. And there's got to be an interplay. You have to include them because they're the diehards, but there's a delicate balance between the two. Couple things, by the way. I just got an email right now from the San Antonio Spurs saying that there's a career fair today and January 12th over at the Rock. Actually, they're going to have it at the Courtyard by Marriott at the Rim. Okay, so the Courtyard Marriott at the Rim today and the 12th. They're hiring lots of people if you're looking for a job. They're looking for cooks, porters, dishwashers, bartenders, barbacks, servers, back servers, people to do customer service because the new the Rock, it's kind of like a country club.
Yeah, yeah.
It is opening up on March 1 over there with the Spurs training facility. It's a 400 person membership to join that group, and they only chose 400 people.
Yeah.
And it's a big deal. A lot of business owners are going to be there.
Saw that, man. Jeff, I think, shared it too, or I think it was earlier in the week.
Yeah.
Jeff Garcia.
SDP 11 which is out. Career fair, hire a new GM.
Oh, Lord. Hire a new GM. Oh, my goodness, dude. Hey, but yeah, if you're really looking for a job, they're hiring a lot of people in the food service industry right now over at The Rock. 401k. It looks like they have good pay, good benefits. So if you're looking for a job,
you'll get to rub shoulders with the Spurs and a lot of
yeah, the
good
big
business
wigs.
owners. You might get to rub shoulders with me a little bit.
That's gonna be awesome, man. What they're doing out there at the Rock, especially with that kind of social club thing that they got going on. I mean, it's high dollar, so they're gonna have some big, let's say closed events.
Yeah,
only for the people who are. It's kind of like a country club in a way.
It's a country club without the golf
Yeah,
course.
exactly. That's what it is.
And they have office space there for business owners to kind of do their stuff. And it's not like an office, but like you know how people like do business at Starbucks.
Yeah,
you could do business over there, right? You can take
or Panera Bread.
Panera Bread, yeah, that's a good one. But I have to let everybody go. If you want to continue the show, cool. But I actually have a pretty big deal going on right now. I have a company that I've been working with for 6 years that had a position open up, and I have my financial practice, but I want to be able to do more and get another managerial type role over there. And long story short, it opened up, and today I'm having a phone call or a phone call Zoom with them to kind of get it blessed. It starts in 4 minutes. So I got to let everybody go so I can log in.
Yeah, man. So
Wish me
we'll
luck.
say bye to Mike. And you know what? I'm going to have to get off here too because I got a meeting for work myself. So I'm going to have to go and log in a little early today. So we'll see you guys on Wednesday. We're out. Peace.